What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new segment here on the channel called Post-Checkered Flag. This is where I talk about the NASCAR races post-race as soon as the race is over. I needed time to think of a name for this, which is why it's so late. And I think the truck race is tonight, so don't expect this until Monday, everyone. Next Monday by the time this video goes up. So without any further ado, let's talk about Speed Week. Starting with all of Speed Week, we'll be covering the Clash, both dual races, the truck race, Xfinity, and of course, the Daytona 500. Because I know a lot of you want to hear my thoughts on this one. So, let's waste any time. Let's start with the Clash. And to be honest, I thought the Clash this year was actually very good. And I never thought I wanted to see a night truck race, but reality? I want to see more. I'm guessing it wasn't possible due to the lack of lights at Sonoma and the Glen. I don't know if Coda has it or Road America, but I do think we're going to see more night road course racing in the future. So, as part of the circle, I'm going to talk about the drivers who I thought did pretty well. Of course, the MVP of the Clash, of course, goes to Mr. Rowdy himself, Kyle Busch. And hopefully, this could be a sign of him having a much better 2021 than he did in 2020. With the new crew chief and all, I didn't think he was going to be... I don't think this is going to be the old Kyle Busch of old, but I think he'll be a step up from what he was last year. Fingers crossed on that one. So, for the Clash, I give him my MVP award. For the Clash, excuse me. Didn't mean to cut off there. Next up, we're going to talk about the duels. And honestly, we're going to start with the first duel. We're going to be covering the bolt, by the way, I forgot to mention. I have two MVPs here. One is obviously the winner in Aric Almirola. Overall, who didn't see this coming? And winning the duel, I was watching the duels, and I saw Almirola cross the finish line first. And I was like, hey, where the hell was this last season, Aric? And this is Smithfield's 10th anniversary, so this actually is kind of fitting. And also, I gotta give him props for that amazing roast of Cliff Boyer in the booth. Roasting that the Bucks won the Super Bowl as well. My other MVP, and I think this one's probably more heartbreaking, is Ty Dillon, who raced 6th in the first duel, but for some reason, I don't remember what it was, he missed the chase. He missed the 500. Like, why? And Ryan Preece got in, and I'm like, okay, Ty Dillon can get in, but Derek freaking Cope can get in. There should be an age limit for people who qualify for this. And speaking of Ty, let's stop to the second duel with the second MVP, the winner, Austin Dillon. And honestly, if you drive the 3-car into victory lane at Daytona, you obviously get a big pass for me on this one. And another MVP, Christopher Bell. Overall, not a bad performance for him. I could definitely see a lot from him going forward, seeing how he does in that 20 team as the season progresses. So yeah, I give another MVP to Christopher Bell. Okay, let's talk about the 500. We're going to save the winner for last. First off, we're going to talk about drivers who really impressed me during their first runs. We're going to start off with probably some favorite paint schemes. Starting off, Daniel Suarez and the Trackhouse team. Phew. And to think that getting 2311 Racing was getting, NASCAR was getting more diversity when Michael Jordan became part owner of 2311 Racing. What I didn't know was at Trackhouse, they actually attracted Pitbull. That's right, Mr. Worldwide is now a NASCAR Cup owner. And I knew he was a fan, but I probably should have seen this coming a mile away. But iFly was on the card this week, and I'm really excited to see what's going to be on the card for this week. Although I wish the car had a little more speed. But it's a new starter club, so got something else to go for here. And a big shout out to Ryan Preece. And I've said last year, I said Ryan Preece is a terrible driver. But I'm guessing it may have been a bad year, but he finished 6th in the 500. Overall, could this be an improvement year for Preece? Only time will tell, guys. Overall, great finish. Desperately just what the doctor ordered for Preece. And how about the new Spire driver, Cory Lejoy? Another solid finish for him at Daytona. I guess Daytona brings the best out of Cory Lejoy. And of course, we got to talk about the original driver for this car, Kyle Larson. Guy hasn't lost a beat. Finishing in the top 10. Job well done, my man. But I know a lot of you want me to talk about this guy, Bubba Wallace, and the new 2311 Racing team. Okay, I actually have a lot to say here. Watching the duels, I was thinking, oh my god. Why is this car fast? For a startup team, I should know it has full Toyota backing, but that 23 car should not have been as fast as it was. And I don't care that it failed. And when I heard it, was like, when it failed inspection twice, I'm like, oh boy, I guess that could explain it. But no, it was actually pretty fast. And until lap 14, where he got hit with the first big one, which pretty much ruined the race for many people. But he still managed to hang on and still got a top 20 out of it. But for a first, and honestly, to be honest, if he wasn't hit with those wrecks, I could think he would be piercing the top 10. But for a first time Cup team for 2311 Racing with Bubba Wallace, overall, not a bad first outing. And with that speed, I could see Bubba Wallace being a threat to win a stage or two. But I can see them threatening to win stages right now. I think the wins come next year, honestly. And speaking of 2311 Racing, according to NASCAR Reddit, there's a possibility that they expand to 2 next year. Who could it be? Who's going to get that right? Could it be Matt DiBenedetto, Brandon Jones, and all that? And oh shit, I forgot Xfinity. Oh well, we'll talk about that before we talk about the 500 winner. I just realized I forgot Xfinity, and I forgot the trucks. Damn it. Well, it's a pilot episode. You gotta make a mistake. Alright. And since you guys know I'm a big Chase Elliott fan, and honestly, I gotta talk about the runner-up here. Honestly, I like the fact that they made a slight edit to his Napa paint scheme. And to be honest, I thought he ran a pretty solid race. And honestly, I'm probably one of the few Elliott fans that notice he's getting closer to winning a 500 each time. If it wasn't for that last record, oh, you guys want me to talk about that one? Oh, I will. So, overall, I think next year, Chase is going to be a threat to win the 500 and add another similarity to his father. Alright, let's talk about the truck race, shall we? Alright, now let's talk about the MVP and the winner of the Daytona race of the Camping World Truck Series. Boy, it feels nice to say that. And by the way, boy, it feels weird to see Brett Moffitt in the truck I race in. I don't know who's in the 23. I know Raphael Lassard's in the 24. Ugh. And Hallie Deegan. I want to talk more about her right now here. I see a lot of promise in her. I see a lot of potential as a driver in her. I mean, sure, she didn't have the best race, but you could build off of this going forward. But probably the big story of the thing. Why is this truck in there? Okay. And I didn't realize this until later. Christian Eckes is now driving part-time in the 98 with Grant Enbinger. Why? Thor, what the hell are you doing? And he's also teammates with... If I can find him. This scumbag. Yeah, you know, the same guy who flipped off. Oh, we'll talk more about Ben Rhodes in a minute. But let's talk about the runner-up. I don't know. Why did he get another truck ride? The guy sucked. Let's talk about the runner-up. Talk about Jordan Anderson, the guy who actually started up his own Xfinity team, which is a bit of a surprise. But oh man, talk about a painful loss. Not losing at Daytona, coming runner-up once was painful. Being the runner-up 2 years in a row, that is absolutely brutal for Jordan Anderson. And I want to see him in victory lane. I really do. I really, really do. But, and by the way, you could tell how much passion he has with that post-race interview. And that there is a reason why I think Jordan Anderson could very well make his way into victory lane. All right. Let's talk about it. Ben Rhodes, he wins another race. Seriously. I'm surprised he didn't wreck someone on purpose in order to get it. Overall, at Thor Sports with Toyota, which proved that swept everyone. But overall, Ben Rhodes wins, lol. That's all I could say. Let's jump into Xfinity, shall we? All right, let's talk about the Xfinity. We're going to run down the top 5. Down the top 5. First off. Starting in the 5th position, and this one is a bit of a surprise. Oh, by the way, shout out to Ryan Vargas. He got Alvin Kamara as the sponsor of his car for this week's race, so we're going to start with him. Had to get that out of the way. In 5th place, AJ Almandinger. Great to see him back, and honestly, I want to see him get a junior ride next year. But the odds are it's probably going to be either Sheldon Creed or Zane Smith that's going to get it. Overall, a really good race from him. AJ Almandinger, and I think he's going to be a major threat this week at the road course. And in 5th place is his teammate, his new teammate. Wow, he wasn't. Jed Burton's not even in the game? That sucks. Well, I guess we're going to have to use this. Jed Burton in the 10 car. Very good outing for him in his first time with his new team. Could this be the rise for Calling? And Beck Calling may be making his way up to the Cup. The Cup, which I actually would like to see that. Actually. And in third place, and I think we all probably should have seen this coming, Harrison Burton in the 20 car. Jeez Louise. Honestly, looks like Burton might be a legitimate, starting to become a threat for the title. And in second place, okay, seriously, where did this come from? Brett Moffitt. A really solid outing for him. Do I see him winning the Xfinity Championship? Probably not. I think it's going to come down to Burton, Gregson, or Austin Cindric. And speak of the devil, the winner, Austin Cindric. Jeez Louise. Boy. I could see him possibly repeat as Xfinity Series champion after that performance. Can't believe he's gonna bump to Benedetto. Now, let's talk about arguably the biggest upset in NASCAR in nearly 10 years. It's like every 10 years there's an upset. 2001, Michael Waltrip won, although unfortunately we lost arguably the best driver in NASCAR history. 10 years later, we saw a big upset in Trevor Bayne. And let's just say that didn't work well for his career. And all I can say is a lot of people's eyes were on Kyle Busch because this will be his 16th attempt to try to end that drought. Well, a long drought did end, but it wasn't what we all expected. Michael Mcdowell from Glendale, Arizona is your winner of the Daytona 500. Yes, Front Row Motorsports actually won the Daytona 500. And let's be honest, a lot of people were expecting this guy to win, but after a wreck with his teammate Brad Keselowski that saw the two get loose, yes, I rewatched it over the last few days, the two looked like he did get loose because I think McDowell tried to give him a push, but the two, yeah, I saw the two get loose, which led to the arguably the biggest crash, which nearly sent Kyle Busch into Keselowski. I saw the aforementioned Austin Cindric crash into him, sending those cars on a giant fireball onto that area of the track. And I think the two went airborne for like 2 seconds. It wasn't like Carl Edwards airborne or Austin Dillon airborne. But boy, that was still a scary wreck. And when they were replaying it, I was like, oh God, I don't want to look. The caution called, and NASCAR said McDowell got it. This was his 14th attempt at the 500. So now he will no longer be remembered for that terrifying... Yeah, as I was saying before my camera cut there. He will no longer be remembered... Michael McDowell will not be remembered for that terrifying wreck at Texas back in 2008 when he was with Michael Waltrip Racing. Yeah, this guy has come a long way since that day. And if there's a definition of a blue-collar NASCAR driver, Michael McDowell would be it. And I think he had the lowest odds in NASCAR history to win the Daytona 500. I don't remember what Trevor Bayne's odds were, but Michael McDowell had 100-1 odds to win this thing. And I'm going to be honest here. This win is definitely going to keep Front Row Motorsports in business for years to come. Because of the pandemic, we lost Levine and Germain Racing. Although Germain became 2311, well, Levine became a part of Spire. So it sucks we lost them. And I can see Front Row expanding into other sports, including Formula One. They could give Haas a good run for their money. But who's going to be their engine manufacturer? That remains to be seen, should that happen. So yeah, this is a massive win for Front Row, and this could definitely keep them in business for years to come. And this will make Michael McDowell's career, no, not just his career, for the rest of his life, as DW used to say. Well, I guess that's it. I will mention, as I brought up F1, one of the next videos I'm going to do prior to the gameplay that will be airing in the next couple of days, I'll be discussing the two cars that were revealed, the McLaren and the AlphaTauri cars. So stay tuned, that video's coming up next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys post-checkered flag after the road course. See you guys around the track.